where they see great opportunities, beckoning and calling them to do more business and investments. Now, the South African business community that is here, or business participants that are here, have come from a variety of sectors, from pharmaceuticals, automotive, manufacturing, agribusiness, and a number of others. Like all countries in the region, and indeed in the continent, our economy in South Africa was hard hit by COVID-19, but like many others, we've also been hard hit by the effects of unemployment that was given rise to by COVID. We, together at this roundtable, have affirmed that deepening intra-African trade and investment and taking advantage of the opportunities presented by the African Continental Free Trade Area can hasten an inclusive and sustainable economic recovery for the region and our own continent. President Masisi and I agree that we need to encourage business in our respective countries to invest in both countries and take up various opportunities that are given rise to by the African Continental Free Trade Area. But we also agree that we need to see greater collaboration between businesses in our two countries, a collaboration that will reaffirmed our commitment to supporting our fellow countries on the continent to reach a level of greater industrialization and manufacturing. A major point of discussion also revolved around how we can focus on certain areas, agro-processing, manufacturing, clothing and textiles was also touched on. Minerals was also touched on. Real logistics that can make our two countries work better, and enhancing the logistics of the goods that go through our two countries, and how we can also, Botswana has been a logistics hub, because Botswana is well situated in the middle of Southern Africa, and where we can all benefit greatly if we can work together. So this has been for us a wonderful business roundtable. It's a good starting point to begin strategizing and aligning our efforts in pursuit of common prosperity, greater reciprocal trade, and much higher levels of investment. I'm extremely encouraged and pleased with what has ensued here today. A number of wonderful ideas have come through, innovative solutions which we can embark on. So this has been a really worthwhile roundtable, and I once again want to thank President Masisi for having enabled this roundtable to take place. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, for the closing remarks from the roundtable session. I'd now like to welcome the President of the Republic of Botswana, His Excellency Dr. Mokgweetsi Eric Masisi. to deliver the closing remarks from Botswana's perspective in the just ended roundtable session. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies. Your Excellency, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Minister Patel, Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Musi Kafela, Minister of Trade and Industry of the Republic of Botswana, the two Honorable Ministers of International Affairs and Foreign Affairs of South Africa and Botswana, and quite interestingly, they relate, Your Excellency, President Ramaphosa. One was a teacher of the other, literally, in class. So we want to applaud you, Dr. Pando. You taught well, you're a good teacher. Melarato Matabuhe, the Deputy Director General of the Department of Trade and Industry in the Republic of South Africa, Memora Kaladi, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Trade and Industry in the Republic of Botswana, Your Excellency, High Commissioners of the two countries, Ms. Shoma and Ms. Mudise of South Africa and of Botswana, Mr. Gibine, President of Business Botswana, Mr. Kovadia, Chief Executive Officer of Business Unity, South Africa, Mayor Simele, the Board Chairperson of Botswana Investment Trade Center, Captains of Industry from both South Africa and Botswana, members of the Fourth Estate, the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and all young people in the room. A very good afternoon. Mr. President and my very dear brother, let me thank you most sincerely and heartily for finding time in your excruciatingly busy schedule to grace us with your presence at this historic Botswana South Africa Business Roundtable. This is where you applaud. I also wish to acknowledge and thank your team for the commitment they made at the recent 5th session of our Bi-National Commission, BNC, which South Africa hosted successfully in April this year, where we both reaffirmed our commitment to be good neighbors and to create a good neighborhood. Your Excellency, today we have witnessed the execution of one of the action items that came from our Bi-National Commission. And I must applaud the Ministers of Trade for their rapidity of speed and fluency of execution. It is my sincere hope that the business forum we've just had during the past 2 days is the beginning of the regular business-to-business interactions between our two countries. This is particularly significant given the strong diplomatic and economic relations that exist and which complement and enrich the long-standing historical ties, ethno-cultural and linguistic connections of several communities of our two nations. Let me also thank the Honourable Ministers of Trade and Industry and their respective teams for successfully organizing and managing this business forum and icing it off with the mini expo that was held since yesterday. I am told the team has arranged for us to tour the mini expo to appreciate our company's efforts to grow their businesses beyond the borders of our two countries. As the adage goes, charity begins at home. I'm one of the conviction that we need to trade in a mutually beneficial and efficient manner as neighbors. This is to start off under the SACU, which grants producers domiciled anywhere in the customs union market access to a combined population of around 60 million people. The SACU market allows our manufacturers to do trials on exporting. In doing so, they'll be able to eventually gain the necessary experience, which will assist them to grow and reach the necessary economies of scale to export regionally and into the continent. Let me also express my sincere gratitude to the private sector from both countries for their commitment and active participation during these past 2 days. I am confident that the correct seed has been planted through their contributions to the deliberations at this business forum and today at the Business Roundtable. There is no doubt that the private sector is the engine of growth for our respective economies. Therefore, our role as governments is to create an enabling environment for them to thrive. I therefore implore our two ministers of trade and industry and their teams to develop and operationalize concrete plans to address the challenges identified during the last 2 days, so that trade between our two countries can be elevated, beginning with the agreement on the Hof, Your Excellency. I believe we have, during these 2 days, realized there are a lot of opportunities to collaborate and partner on in order to grow our economies. These range from exporting power to South Africa, vertically integrating automotive components manufacturing into the South Africa auto value chain, which is on a positive growth trajectory, as well as our diamond hub, having linkages with the OR Tambo Special Economic Zone, among others. I look forward to more information exchanges of this nature, as well as an increase in the areas of cooperation between our two countries. On the margins of the recently held mining endeavor in May 2022 in Cape Town, I attended a business process outsourcing forum. This further exposes to how South Africa has successfully created sizable jobs in the business processing outsourcing sector. I believe that we can draw some lessons and experiences from these events as we seek to address the unemployment challenges, particularly of our youth. I've been informed that in order to improve our efficiencies at the port of entry, South Africa is transitioning to have a ports authority. Let me commend you for this initiative, as it is consistent with the international best practice. I am confident that it will go a long way in improving the clearance times, which have been a hindrance to efficient movement of goods, thus delaying trade. While still on the border issue, Mr. President, I am delighted to note that all our borders in South Africa are now operational, following closure of a number of them due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. These borders are critical to facilitate tourism and travel, as well as the movement of goods between our countries. I also wish to indicate that the opening of the magnificent Kazungula Bridge, which I am reliably informed you are yet to visit, particularly at night, constructed in collaboration with the government of the Republic of Zambia in May 2021, will go a long way in facilitating trade in our region. We will be able to swiftly move our goods to the northern trading partners in Zambia, Angola, DRC, and beyond. Finally, and most importantly, let me thank members of the Fourth Estate, the media from both Botswana and South Africa, for playing a very important role of information dissemination. The coverage this event has received so far and will continue to receive through your conventional and digital channels will go a long way in igniting some business thoughts in our private sectors, as well as sensitizing our general populace about trade and investment opportunities in our countries. And yes, we are resolute to be exemplary in our relations with South Africa. So 28 years is only a number that we're going to outpace. General ceremonies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with these few remarks, I want to thank you for your attendance and your kind attention. Your Excellency, Mr. President Cyril Ramaphosa, I thank you heartily once again for this time and wish you and your delegation a safe travel back home. Apula ilinerezi li.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Botswana, Dr. Mokgweetsi, Eric Masisi, thank you very much for those closing remarks from the just ended roundtable session. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be opening the floor to questions from the media. Again, to iterate, we will be having 4 questions. 2 are meant for media from South Africa, and then 2 questions are meant for media from Botswana. We've got 2 mics at the back, on the left and the right, so please kindly approach the green mic near you to ask your relevant question. Before I open the floor to questions, let me caution to say, media, please, only questions that are related to the Botswana South Africa Business Roundtable. We keep within the theme of the session, and just to remind what the objectives or the intended outcomes of the session were, was to identify and recommend measures to address trade investment barriers. It was to identify trade and investment opportunities on the basis of strengthening cooperation at government and private sector level. And lastly, identification of a package of concrete actions to create a conducive environment to strengthen business-to-business linkages. May I kindly ask that your questions be aligned to this specific focus. I open the floor to questions. I'll start with media from South Africa. Yes, sir, you may ask your question and pose it to the relevant head of state. Thank you very much. Tech team, please kindly assist.
Good afternoon. My name is Helmer Price from the BRICS Post. I represent South African media. I've got a question for President Ramaphosa and President Masisi. President Masisi, in terms of the Kazangula, if we look at the South African trade data, in the first 5 months of this year, trade with the rest of Africa increased by 33% in value terms. What is the data in terms of how much went through Kazangula compared to, say, 2020 or 2019 pre-COVID? President Ramaphosa, could you expand in terms of the carbon economy? In other words, what's happening with the BPC negotiations? How soon can we get some more megawatts for Eskom? And then, secondly, what's happening with the rail link in terms of coal exports from Botswana through to Richards Bay? Do we have a timeline, and what are we looking at in terms of millions of tons?
Sir, thank you so much. Before I take the questions to the heads of state, I'd like to ask you for, of those 3 questions, which one is your priority? One question was requested so that others may have a chance.
The carbon economy.
And that was directed to the Botswana president?
The South African president.
Your Excellency, you may take the floor to ask the question.
Which Excellency?
Sorry, I did not.
No, thank you very much. 2 questions really regarding, yes, you call it the carbon economy, regarding our quest as South Africa to address our own energy challenges, which we addressed the other day, and we said that we would be seeking to increase the capacity of our energy by also importing energy from our sister neighboring countries, such as Botswana, as well as Zambia, who have moved up the ladder in terms of having a measure of surplus energy, which we would like to tap into. So those discussions have started, and we want to proceed with them. They are being obviously driven by Eskom in our own country. So Eskom, having us as government having made the various announcements, is now going to be working on the implementation
whole package of interventions that we announced, and obviously we will be playing an oversight role. So we are hoping that through various negotiations we'll be able to tap into energy source from Botswana as well, where there is a measure of surplus energy that they can sell to us. In relation to the rail line, it's a matter that we discussed, and we've reached in principle agreement between Botswana and South Africa at the level of the two presidents, that we are going to pay attention to this rail line. There's 126 kilometers of rail line that needs to be addressed so that we are then able to have coal transversing much more easily through the Palale, through to Emelo and through to Richards Bay. So we are going to prioritize this, and our Transnet is going to be playing a key executing role in all this. I'm now not able to give you time frame, but it is a matter that we would like to see addressed as quickly as possible, with a clear agreement in principle from both of us, President Masisi and myself, that this needs to be addressed, because it is going to unlock enormous opportunities for both countries, where the two countries will benefit immensely. And as we are going through our own budgeting processes in both countries, we will see how quickly that can be carried down. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I'd like to open the floor to the Botswana side of the media to ask two questions. So one from Botswana, please take the podium to ask your question. May I request that you ask one question to give others a chance.
My name is Botswana. My question will be directed to the South African head of state. We understand that Botswana has long expressed high interest to open the Gaborone border for 24 hours. And currently, South Africa has been delayed in that aspect. So we want to appreciate what is the teething problem, because our borders close at midnight between us and South Africa, most of our borders.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. I'll take all the questions. Your Excellencies, if you don't mind, I'll take questions from the floor, the last two, and then I'll give you the first answers all at once.
Sorry, just for clarification, the last speaker, which particular border post are you talking about? Fontaine. The one here. In South Africa, they call it Fontaine, in Botswana is Tokwe.
Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to request for one representative from the South African media to take the stage and ask that question, if there's still anyone. Yes, sir, you may put one of your other questions on the floor, since it looks like
I'm the only South African media representative.
Okay, great.
Can I get a second chance?
Yes, sir.
Can I ask the question again about Kazungulu?
Yes, sir, you may go ahead, the second question.
President Masisi, in terms of the South African trade figures, we see a 33% increase in value terms of South African exports to the rest of Africa. Have you got equivalent numbers for Botswana, and how much of that actually goes through Kazungulu? Do you have other border posts?
Thank you very much, sir. I'd like to open the floor to the last media personnel from Botswana. Yes, sir, you may take the mic.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you and good morning. My name is Cyril. I'm from the Sunday Standard newsroom. I would like to draw your attention to the SACU revenue issue. It is a general concern that there is an unfair sharing of revenue at SACU level regarding SACU members. My question is, at what stage are you resolving this issue of to be fair in terms of sharing revenue? Thank you.
Would you like both the presidents to answer their perspectives, or you've got one president you're directing the question to?
I think both of them are affected.
Should you repeat the question?
Was he addressing to both?
Yes, sir. I'd like to open the floor to Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, to answer the question. I think the first one was around the Fontaine-Dropin border and around 24-hour operation. The podium is yours, sir.
Thank you very much once again. In relation to borders, and as you will have heard, and it was President Masisi who said that what we all welcome is the reopening of our borders, and borders that were closed due to COVID have now all reopened. And clearly, in terms of their operation, we need to be looking at how they operate more optimally, and also being able to deploy the necessary staff so that they reach that level of optimization. And at times, some borders operate on a 24-hour basis, and some on a 12-hour basis, some 18 hours. And so this is one border whose operations seems to indicate that the hours need to be looked at once again. So it is a process that obviously is going to be looked into. Just on the issue of the SACU revenue sharing, I just wanted to say that the formula is worked on by our ministers of finance, and they are able to look at the trades that happen, and they are able to, because there is a set formula which has been set for quite a while, they are able to then do the revenue sharing. It's a matter that continues to occupy our minds, all of us as members of SACU, to see how best we can address some of the challenges. There have been challenges that have been raised, and they are finding a lot of options that we can look at, so we want to continue doing that. I just want to comment on a question that was not raised directly with me about the Kazangula Bridge. President Masisi has invited me to go to that bridge. Just having looked at it optically, it's the most unbelievably well-constructed bridge, almost a kilometer long. And I'd like to say, President Masisi, accept your invitation to go to that bridge, but I don't know why you want me to go at night. The bridge is a question to you, why at night? What happens in that bridge area? Is there something much more exciting that you know happens? Maybe you will want to whisper to me about it.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Madam Cyril Ramaphosa. I'd now like to open the floor to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Botswana, Dr. Eric, to answer questions posed to you, sir. I'll leave it open to you for all the three questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. With respect to the question of the trade increase at Gaborone Bridge, as measured by the percentage of South African traded goods, and what we experienced, frankly speaking, I don't have the answer as you'd like it, but I do have figures to share with you of what we experienced on the very first day of the opening of the bridge in monetary terms, as well as the number of trucks that went through. We realized the total value of 202,980,045 on the first day. Ula. And there were 108 trucks that came in and 54 that departed. We have seen a variable performance, largely coming out of COVID, but also primarily influenced by the war in Europe, where there was a decline. But we are convinced on average that there is a real increase in the amount of trade that goes through. But later on I could attempt to get the true answer to you to the question as you asked. With respect to the SAPCO revenue sharing formula and our attention to it, this is work in progress. It's work in progress that has been given to our ministers, our respective ministers of trade. You will recall that in 2002 we had a refreshed SAPCO agreement where we committed to democratize SAPCO, and it is in these elements that we would seek solutions to enhance the viability of SAPCO. But SAPCO remains extremely important to us. Remember, it's the oldest customs agreement in the world. So there's some history that we need to jealously guard. But in jealously guarding it, we are also committed to making sure it is successful. So our two ministers here are going to make it successful. If you want to test our resolve with respect to the Palala rail, irrespective of the details, you must measure the performance of President Ramaphosa and my performance against the speed, measured by the speed with which we will deliver on this project. Measure as well. We're going to do it and make sure that we all benefit from it. I think those are the two questions that I had. And now that I had said it publicly, I'd rather not whisper to President Ramaphosa, but whisper to him publicly. It's important to go there at night, Your Excellency, because a night is always followed by a day. At night, we'll be there. The interesting thing about the night visuals are the illumination that comes with it. Is the illumination that comes with it. And the sounds of the night are peaceful and memorable. When we had an event there with the other three presidents, because of the quadripoint, we had the President of Namibia, President of Zambia, President of Zimbabwe, and myself, where we got into a compact and commitment for children's rights. We did that at night, and the little kids had little lumens on their heads and their shoes. And so we make it an annual event. We share the hosting of that. But more importantly also, you being a disciplined cadre of the ANC, a number of your colleagues braved the waters of the mighty Zambezi at night and swam across to Zambia to freedom through water infested with snakes and crocodiles. I will not ask you to do that, Your Excellency. We'll have a boat if you want to get in the water, because now that Africa is free, you don't have to go through the hurdles of what your comrades went through. But there is a place there where a monument is to be erected in the memory of those that succeeded and those that did not to cross that river to fight for liberation. That's yet another example of how this country stood shoulder to shoulder with the people of South Africa in fighting for liberation. And that's why we, as I told the Zimbabweans, demand as a BDP to be recognized as a former liberation movement that did not bear arms. Thank you. I hope the night story is done.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Botswana, Dr. Mokgweetsi Eric, for the answers to the Q&A with the media.
I embellished it. It's in thousands of millions.
Apologies to you. Those figures, we can only speak to the first day, as Mr. Herman Cross who asked that question. On that first day, both sides, South Africa and North America and Zambia, was in the region of 208,980 kula out of 108 trucks. Now, on that first day, 162 trucks went through, as opposed to what obtained before, which used to be 50 trucks per day. So you can see the increase in the trade in consequence of the establishment of the bridge. So I thought I should just come to correct that. I beg your pardon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Musi Kafela, the Minister of Trade and Industry for Botswana, for the point of clarification. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention throughout this entire day, from morning to afternoon, for joining the Botswana South Africa Business Roundtable. And I'd also like to thank the members of the Fourth Estate and the audience that has joined us online. And thank you for joining and engaging on what the future of trade between Botswana and South Africa looks like, and by default for Southern Africa. Thank you very much for also allowing me to be your program director for the day, and I hope I did your day some justice, that you're walking away with great insight and value from the day. We will now rise and make way for our heads of state, as well as our honorable ministers, to go for the exhibition tour, which will be guided and led by the Chief of Protocol of both countries, and namely guided by the coordinator of the exhibition, Ms. Mokgweetsi.